A couple of days ago, I had a spare hour, so I did a quick Zwift race. I just jumped on the kicker bike in here, found the first ride coming up on Zwift and logged straight in. So I join the pen here with about 20 seconds to go, start my warm-up, plenty of time for that. I don't really notice anything different at this stage, although looking back now, there's no power figures being displayed. And then the race starts. There's no anything, there's no power, there's no cadence, there's no heart rate, no map, no race position, nothing. I am racing au naturel and I'm not sure that I like it. So this is the new ZWIFT no head-up display introduced in their recent update. And if we just jump over to a recording that I did earlier, and this will show you the difference. This is a standard screen. You've got your power and your cadence, your heart rate, or you would have if I was wearing my heart rate monitor when I recorded this. You've got the overhead map, you've got all the riders around you. In a race, of course, that will also show you your race position. Hit the H key and it all goes. Hit it again and it comes back again. It is that simple. Back to the race. So it seems some races can be set up with the display off and no option to turn it on. Trust me, I hit H plenty during the start of this ride to try and get some information back on the screen. It just kept giving me a can't toggle display in this activity message. So basically the race organisers had turned it off. There was no data for this race at all. So what is it like to race like this with no display data? Well, my gut reaction was it is no good. People have said it is more realistic, it's more like real life. It's not like real life. When I ride my real bike outside, my Garmin head unit tells me my power, my speed, my cadence, my heart rate data. The only way this is more like real life is if you regularly ride in 1950. But I then settled in and thought maybe it's not quite that bad. So let me explain what I struggled with and what I enjoyed about the new no heads up display. If you know this course, it's the Champs-Élysées. You basically go up the hill, round the monument, back down the other side, 4 laps for this race. Going up the hill on lap 1, I am here at the back of the pack, but it's a huge pack. There's well over 30 riders in this group. And towards the top, it gets stretched out as that climb often does to a pack. And normally what I would expect is a nice little summary on the right hand side telling me all about how far ahead the lead riders have got at this point. And I would see that they were getting significantly ahead, and that would motivate me and prompt me to take advantage of the draft that I'm still benefiting from, move through this pack, but I don't have any of that information. And without that, I get to the top, and only as we're going round the top do I realise that actually the pack has been completely stretched and some of the riders are almost, well, they're on their way down the hill already, by which time it is too late for me to do much. So I go flying off down the hill on my own to try and catch them, which is hard going. There's no draft at this point. And now what I would normally be doing with the data is looking at how far ahead they are and whether me killing myself to catch them is actually doing anything. Am I gaining on them or not? And I could decide whether or not it's a pointless exercise. In the absence of that, I just go ploughing down the hill, not really sure whether it's worthwhile or not, until I get to the bottom, and it's then obvious that I'm not catching them. So I just blew my legs up for nothing. I just give up and wait for the following group to come and catch me. Again, I have no idea where they are because I can't see, there's no map. And then suddenly there they are, they just appear and off we all go together. Now at this point, you could argue that in real life, I wouldn't know how far ahead the leaders were either. But actually in real life, you can see, especially on a straight road, you can see the people in the distance that you're chasing after. Here, even on the big 55-inch TV in 4K, there comes a point where a cyclist that is a significant distance ahead of you, but not gone completely, is just pixels in the distance. You can't really tell how far ahead they are. So having that information I found incredibly useful and missed it. It's also fair to say that finding out who is behind me could be done by just using the view backwards key, but I don't like using the keyboard while I'm riding. I wanted to be realistic. So I settle in with this group, and actually this is a rather boring race to run through because I stay now with this group for the entirety of the remaining laps, so not very exciting. And I sort of get used to it. I can kind of see how maybe on a group ride it might be nice to sort of trundle along, turn off the data and just have the screen to look at cartoon trees beside the cartoon road. I don't know. For me, in a race in particular, I want to have the data. I want to be able to see data and know what's going on for two reasons. Firstly, I know what I can do. So if I'm out running, for example, I can look at my Garmin. It will tell me what my pace is, and I'll know if that is a pace that is below what I'm capable of. And I can just remind myself, dig in. This isn't me, and I'll push harder. On here, maybe I might see 240, 250 watts. And I'll know that on a sub-hour race, I can dig down. I've got another 50 watts I can find. Here I've got no idea. I don't know what power I'm doing. I've got no idea of my cadence. I've gotten very used to spotting cadence drop and then changing the gears accordingly to get my legs spinning up again. And again, people could argue that I should probably know how to change gear without a computer telling me, but I like to use the computer. What else? The overhead map, which is missing, is very handy. It's handy to know who is around. And I get that in real life you don't have a map, but it's just nice information. You can see a bunch coming up behind you. You can kick it up a gear and try and stay ahead of them. In the end, I did actually use the rear view camera because I had no idea what was behind me any other way. And race position data is so useful again. You can see who's dropping some big numbers to pull away from you. You can see if the gap between you and the riders up front is extending, and you can dig down to stop them from stretching the pack out. The bottom line is that information that is normally there is just handy to have. Maybe I'm just someone that likes a lot of data. I'm the same when I go running. I like to look at my Garmin and do the maths in my head. Am I on track for where I want to be? Am I running at the right pace? Do I need to increase it? Do I need to decrease it a little bit? Again, here I got no idea how much exertion I'm applying. In fact, the only clue I had to exertion was that my Wahoo kicker fan was going crazy because it's hooked up to my heart rate monitor. So the faster my heart beats, the harder I get blown, which is just the way I like it. Here, any interesting race bits? I mean, on the last lap, I nearly got dropped going up the last climb. There isn't even a little draft warning to say, close the gap. So I didn't, which is probably more my fault than the computer not telling me, but it would have been nice to be prompted. It meant a crazy hard push to get back, and then going downhill, I had to try and catch them again, which I did in the end, but it was exhausting. And then the sprint finish. So I know this course quite well, so I know where to kick, which is handy because there's no countdown as to how far is left in the race. I know that for me, it's the 4th pedestrian crossing after going around the final corner. So I go around the final corner and I just count them out. 1, 2, 3, and kick, and I am out of there. So yeah, I'm undecided. I don't hate it, but I can't quite see why you'd pick it in a race, to deprive yourself of data and information to try and achieve some degree of reality that isn't really reality anyway. Seems like you're just sort of making life hard for yourself. What do you think? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Are you really excited about when they're going to release the oldie-woldy colour scheme update? Stick it in the comments down below, and I will see you on the next one.